Part 1, Birth and Childhood. Once upon a time, in the land of Wales, on September 13, 1916, a baby boy named Roald Dahl was born. The city where he was born is called Llandaff. His parents, Roald Dahl and Sophie Magdalene Dahl, were very happy to welcome him into the world. Roald's family was not small. He had 4 sisters, Astrid, Alfhild, Else, and Asta. Roald was the only boy in his family. His father, Harold, was a very successful businessman. His mother, Sophie, was a loving woman who took care of all the children. Roald was named after Roald Amundsen, a famous Norwegian explorer, who was a hero in his parents' home country, Norway. Roald's father loved to tell stories about this great adventurer. These tales would become a seed for Roald's own love of storytelling in the years to come. When Roald was just 3 years old, a sad thing happened. His sister, Astrid, and his father, Harold, died. This was a tough time for little Roald. But his mother, Sophie, was strong. She took care of Roald and his sisters and made sure they grew up well. In his childhood, Roald loved to explore the world around him. He was full of curiosity. The big, green fields near his house were his playground. He would run around, climb trees, and play games with his friends. This playful nature would also help him later to write stories that children around the world love. Even as a child, Roald was a dreamer. He used to look up at the sky, watch the birds fly, and dream about going on big adventures. Little did he know that his life would be an adventure itself, filled with stories, just like the ones in his books. And so, the early years of Roald Dahl's life passed. His childhood was full of both happy and sad times, but each experience was important. These experiences, big and small, shaped Roald into the person he would become, and they all played a part in making him one of the most beloved writers of all time. Part 2, School Days. When Roald Dahl grew a bit older, it was time for him to start school. His mother, wanting the best for her children, sent him to some good schools. However, these schools were far away from home. Roald had to live in these schools, away from his family. This was a big change for young Roald, but he was a brave boy and ready for the new journey. The first school that Roald went to was called Llandaff Cathedral School. Then, when he was 9, he went to a school called St. Peter's. 2 years later, he was sent to Repton School. All these schools were in England, which was different from his home in Wales. Roald's school days were not always easy. He had to follow many rules. Some of the teachers were very strict. Roald was a tall and strong boy, but even he felt scared sometimes. However, he also learned a lot. He learned to be brave and to stand up for what he believed was right. These lessons would later be seen in his stories, where his characters often showed great bravery. One good thing about school was the library. Roald loved to read. He would spend hours in the library, lost in the magical world of books. He loved books about adventure and exploration, just like the stories his father used to tell him. Roald also discovered that he loved writing. In school, he would write essays and stories. His teachers noticed that he had a special way with words. He could make ordinary things seem interesting and exciting. This was the beginning of Roald's journey as a writer. One of Roald's favorite things at Repton School was when the chocolate company Cadbury used to send boxes of new chocolates to the school for the students to test. Roald and his friends would taste the chocolates and give their opinions. This was a lot of fun for Roald. Little did he know that this would later inspire him to write one of his most famous books, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And so, Roald's school days passed. They were a mix of tough times and fun times. But they played a big part in shaping Roald's character and his love for stories. As he grew older, his love for reading and writing only grew stronger. And these early experiences at school would serve as inspiration for many of his famous tales. Part 1. Dahl's youth time went by quickly, and Roald Dahl was no longer a little boy. He had grown into a tall, strong young man. His school days were behind him. It was time for the next chapter of his life to begin. Roald always had a spirit of adventure. He loved exploring and discovering new things. This love of adventure would guide him in his youth. After finishing school, Roald was not ready to settle into a normal job. He wanted to see the world and have exciting experiences. One day, he saw an advertisement in the newspaper. It was for a job in Africa, working for an oil company called Shell. The job was to look after the company's business in African countries. Roald was very excited. He had always dreamed of going on a big adventure. This was his chance. So, he applied for the job and was happy when he got it. Roald moved to Africa. He was far away from his family and his home in Wales, but he was not scared. He was excited. His work took him to different parts of Africa. He got to see beautiful landscapes and meet interesting people. These experiences would later inspire some of his stories. Despite his busy schedule, Roald always found time to read. He loved books. He believed that reading opened up the mind and sparked the imagination. He also started to write more. He wrote about his experiences in Africa. He wrote about the people he met and the things he saw. As a young man, Roald learned many important things. He learned to be independent. He learned to work hard. He learned to adapt to new places and new situations. But most importantly, he learned to never lose his sense of wonder and curiosity. These were the years when Roald transformed from a boy into a young man. His experiences in his youth shaped his character and his view of the world. His love for adventure, his interest in people and places, and his passion for reading and writing, these were all parts of Roald's journey of growing up. And they would all play a big part in his future career as a writer. Part 2. Beginning of adulthood. Roald Dahl's youthful adventures in Africa were just the beginning of his exciting journey into adulthood. While he was busy learning about the world and its wonders, something significant was brewing on the horizon. The world was on the brink of a great war, World War II. Before the war started, Roald had been working for Shell in Africa for 3 years. He had adapted well to life in Africa and enjoyed his job. However, when the war clouds gathered, Roald felt a call to duty. He decided to join the Royal Air Force, RAF. This was a bold choice. It was a dangerous job. But Roald was brave and ready to serve his country. Becoming a pilot in the RAF was not easy. Roald had to go through tough training. He had to learn how to fly a plane and how to fight in the air. It was hard work, but Roald was determined. He passed his training and became a fighter pilot. He was proud to serve his country. At the same time, Roald was also growing as a person. His experiences in Africa and his training in the RAF had taught him many things. He had learned to face challenges with courage. He had learned to stay calm in difficult situations. He had learned to lead and to take responsibility. These were important lessons that would serve him well in the coming years. In his free time, Roald continued to read and write. He wrote about his experiences as a pilot. He wrote about the war. His stories were full of action and adventure. They also showed his deep understanding of human nature. Roald Dahl was no longer a young boy. He was a grown man, facing the challenges of life with courage and determination. His transition into adulthood had been a journey full of learning and growth. His early career choices and aspirations had shaped him into the person he was, and they would continue to influence his writing in the years to come. As Roald stepped into the world of adulthood, he was ready for the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. His journey was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. And his experiences in his early adulthood would provide rich material for his future stories. Part 1: The onset of war. Roald Dahl's life took a dramatic turn when World War II started. It was 1939, and Roald was 23 years old. He decided to leave his job at Shell and joined the Royal Air Force, RAF, to serve his country. He became a fighter pilot, a job that required a lot of courage and skill. Roald's training took place in Nairobi, the capital of Kenya. He had to learn many things. He learned how to fly an aeroplane. He learned how to read maps and navigate. He learned how to operate the machine gun on the plane. The training was tough, but Roald was a quick learner. Once his training was complete, Roald was ready to go into battle. His first assignment was in Libya, a country in North Africa. He was part of a team called the 80 Squadron. His job was to protect British ships in the Mediterranean Sea from enemy attacks. Being a fighter pilot was not easy. It was dangerous and stressful. Roald had to fly in difficult conditions. He had to be ready to fight at any time. He also had to deal with the fear of being shot down. But Roald was brave. He did his job well and was respected by his fellow pilots. During the war, Roald experienced many close calls. One day, his plane was shot down in the desert. Roald was hurt and alone. But he didn't give up. He managed to walk through the desert and find help. This experience was very tough, but it showed Roald's strength and determination. He later wrote about it in one of his books. The war was a challenging time for Roald. But it was also a time of growth. He learned to face his fears. He learned to stay calm under pressure. He learned to work as part of a team. These experiences would later influence his writing, making his stories more realistic and engaging. In the next part, we will learn more about Roald's role in the war and how it influenced his writing. But for now, let's remember that even in difficult times, Roald Dahl showed courage, resilience, and a will to serve, qualities that made him not just a great writer, but also a great human being. Part 2: Dahl's role in the war. As the Second World War continued, Roald Dahl's role in the Royal Air Force became increasingly important. Despite the dangers he faced, Roald showed great bravery and dedication. He flew in many battles, always ready to defend his country. One of Roald's most important roles in the war was as a fighter pilot. He was often sent on missions to attack enemy targets. These missions were very risky. The enemy had powerful weapons and would shoot at Roald's plane. But Roald was not scared. He stayed focused and did his job well. In 1940, Roald had a serious accident. His plane crashed in the desert in North Africa. Roald was badly hurt. He had injuries on his head and his back. He was taken to a hospital, where he spent many months recovering. It was a tough time, but Roald did not give up. He worked hard to get better and return to his duties. After he recovered, Roald was given a new role. He was made an air attaché. This job was different from being a fighter pilot. As an air attaché, Roald's job was to share information between the RAF and the British government. He worked in Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. During his time in Washington, Roald started to write. He wrote about his experiences in the war. He wrote about the bravery of his fellow pilots. His stories were published in newspapers and were very popular. This was the start of Roald's writing career. Roald's role in the war showed his bravery and perseverance. He faced many challenges and dangers. But he never gave up. He did his job with courage and dedication. And through his writing, he helped people understand the reality of war. His experiences in the war not only shaped him as a person, but they also influenced his writing in a big way. They gave depth to his stories and made them more engaging and realistic. Part 1. Pre-writing days. Before Roald Dahl became a famous writer, he had a rich and varied life. His experiences, his jobs, and his travels all played a part in shaping him into the writer he would become. As we have learned, Roald spent his youth working for Shell, an oil company. This job took him to exciting places like Africa, where he learned about different cultures and landscapes. These experiences sparked Roald's curiosity and fueled his imagination, both of which would be crucial to his writing. When World War II started, Roald left his job at Shell and joined the Royal Air Force. He became a fighter pilot, defending his country in many dangerous battles. His experiences during the war, the people he met, the challenges he overcame, all had a profound effect on him. They made him appreciate the courage, resilience, and spirit of human beings, themes that would later find their way into his stories. After his stint as a fighter pilot, Roald served as an air attaché in Washington, D.C. His job was to act as a bridge between the RAF and the British government. He had to communicate, negotiate, and handle sensitive information. This job honed his communication skills and gave him a deep understanding of human nature and politics, which would inform his writing. Despite the demands of his jobs, Roald always made time for reading. He loved stories about adventure, exploration, and heroism. Books became his window to the world, introducing him to different ideas, perspectives, and ways of life. They also sparked his imagination and fueled his love for storytelling. In his free time, Roald started writing. He wrote about his experiences, his observations, and his thoughts. He wrote for himself, without any intention of becoming a writer. But little did he know, he was setting the groundwork for a career that would make him one of the most loved children's authors in the world. So, before Roald Dahl was a writer, he was an explorer, a fighter pilot, a diplomat, and a reader. His pre-writing days were full of experiences that not only enriched his life but also provided valuable material for his future stories. His journey to becoming a writer was not a straight path, but rather a winding road full of twists and turns. But each twist, each turn, brought him closer to his true calling, writing stories that children and adults alike would cherish for generations. Part 2, Discovery of Writing. Roald Dahl's journey into writing started quite by chance. While living in Washington, D.C. and working as an air attaché, Roald had a surprising visitor. His name was C.U.S. Forester, a famous author. Forester wanted to write a story about the war, and he had heard about Roald's interesting experiences as a fighter pilot. Forester asked Roald to write down some of his memories from the war. Roald agreed and started to write. He wrote about his training, his missions, and the time when his plane was shot down in the desert. He wrote in a simple and honest way, just as if he was telling a story to a friend. When Forester read Roald's notes, he was very impressed. He liked the way Roald told his stories. He thought Roald had a natural talent for writing. Instead of using Roald's notes to write his own story, Forster decided to publish Roald's notes as they were. The story was published in a popular magazine, and it was very well received. People loved Roald's honest and engaging style of writing. This was a turning point for Roald. He discovered that he enjoyed writing and that he was good at it. He also realized that his experiences, his imagination, and his love for storytelling could be used to create engaging stories. Roald continued to write. His stories were published in magazines and newspapers. He wrote about his experiences in the war, but he also started to write fiction. His first book, The Gremlins, was published in 1943. It was a story about little creatures that cause problems in aeroplanes, and it was loved by both children and adults. Slowly, Roald transitioned from being a diplomat to becoming a professional writer. It was not always easy. He had to learn how to craft a story, how to create interesting characters, and how to keep readers engaged. But he was determined and worked hard. Roald Dahl's journey into writing was not planned. It was a path he discovered along the way, guided by his experiences, his talents, and his love for stories. But once he discovered this path, he pursued it with passion and dedication, and it led him to become one of the most loved and successful children's authors of all time. Part 1: Early works. After discovering his love for writing and publishing his first book, Roald Dahl was on the path to becoming a full-time writer. His initial works, while not yet the children's stories he's most known for, showed his skill and creativity as a storyteller. Following the publication of The Gremlins, Roald continued to write. However, his early works were mostly for adults. These stories often drew from his personal experiences, particularly his time as a fighter pilot during World War II. One of his first collections of short stories for adults was Over to You, 10 Stories of Flyers and Flying, published in 1946. This collection was filled with tales of brave pilots, thrilling air battles, and the effects of war. Readers appreciated Roald's candid and engaging writing style, and his unique perspective as a former RAF pilot added authenticity to the stories. Roald's next major work was Sometime Never, A Fable for Superman, published in 1948. It was a dark story about a world where humans have become extinct due to war, and gremlins inherit the earth. This novel was unique and ahead of its time, touching upon themes like nuclear warfare, but it was not as successful as his earlier works. Despite the lackluster response to Sometime Never, Roald didn't let it discourage him. He continued to write and experiment with different styles and genres. He published more collections of short stories for adults, including Kiss Kiss and Someone Like You, which received positive reviews for their surprising twists and dark humor. During this time, Roald also started to write for television. His stories were adapted into episodes for popular TV shows like Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Tales of the Unexpected. This broadened his audience and cemented his reputation as a master storyteller. The initial stages of Roald's writing career were a time of exploration and growth. He was discovering his voice as a writer, refining his style, and building his audience. His early works laid the foundation for his future success and gave him the confidence to venture into a new genre that would make him a household name: children's literature. Part 2: Breakthrough success. After a series of works for adults, Roald Dahl ventured into a new territory that would bring him immense success and recognition: children's literature. The transition happened somewhat naturally, as Roald had a gift for seeing the world through a child's eyes and a knack for spinning enchanting tales that both children and adults found irresistible. In 1961, Roald published James and the Giant Peach. The story is about a young boy named James who embarks on a magical adventure in a giant peach with a group of anthropomorphic bugs. The book was filled with whimsical characters, wild adventures, and Roald's trademark dark humor. It was an instant hit, capturing the hearts of children and adults alike. The success of James and the Giant Peach encouraged Roald to write more children's books. In 1964, he published Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This story, about a poor boy named Charlie who wins a tour of a magical chocolate factory, was a blockbuster success. It received rave reviews and quickly became a beloved classic. The book's success was so great that it was adapted into 2 successful movies. Roald continued to write books that enchanted children across the globe. Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Witches, Matilda, and The BFG are just a few of his popular works. Each book brought Roald more recognition and success, cementing his place as one of the most beloved children's authors of all time. Roald's breakthrough success in children's literature wasn't accidental. His stories tapped into children's imaginations, their sense of wonder, and their love for the absurd. Roald didn't shy away from dark themes or complex emotions. He treated his young readers with respect, believing that they could handle and even appreciate the darker aspects of his stories. Through his children's books, Roald Dahl achieved significant recognition and success. But more than the awards and the bestseller lists, his real success lay in the millions of children who fell in love with his stories. His books introduced countless children to the joy of reading, sparking their imaginations and making them laugh, gasp, and dream. And that, undoubtedly, is the greatest success any author can hope for. Part 1, Switch to Children's Literature. Roald Dahl began his writing career creating stories for adults. However, his decision to switch to children's literature was a choice that would significantly impact his career and bring joy to millions of young readers worldwide. But what inspired this switch? Roald's first hint at writing for children came with his book The Gremlins in 1943. While the book was not an immediate success, it allowed Dahl to explore the unique genre of children's literature, and he enjoyed the freedom and creativity it offered. But the real push towards children's literature came from his family. Roald had 5 children, and he loved to make up stories to entertain them at bedtime. He had a knack for capturing his children's attention with his tales filled with magic, adventure, and a dash of mischief. His children's enthusiastic responses to his stories gave Roald the idea that maybe he could write books that all children would enjoy. In 1961, Roald wrote James and the Giant Peach, his first full-length book for children. The book was a success, and its positive reception encouraged Roald to focus more on children's literature. The process of writing for children, the ability to weave tales of magic, adventure, and quirky characters, brought Dahl great joy and satisfaction. Another reason for the switch was Roald's belief in the power of children's books. He believed that a good children's book could spark a child's imagination, teach them valuable lessons, and foster a lifelong love of reading. He once said, "If you can get a child to read, you're halfway home." Roald Dahl's switch to children's literature was motivated by his love for storytelling, his desire to entertain and inspire children, and his belief in the importance of children's books. This decision marked a turning point in his career, leading him to become one of the most cherished children's authors in literary history. Part 2, his famous works. Roald Dahl's career as a children's author was marked by the creation of many incredible books that have since become classics. Let's explore some of his most famous works and the impact they've had on children's literature. James and the Giant Peach, published in 1961, this was Roald's first full-length children's book. It tells the story of a young boy named James who embarks on an extraordinary adventure inside a giant peach with a group of magical bugs. This book marked Roald's transition into children's literature and was praised for its imaginative story and delightful characters. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, this book, published in 1964, is perhaps Roald's most famous work. It tells the story of Charlie Bucket, a poor boy who wins a golden ticket to visit Willy Wonka's magical chocolate factory. The book is known for its vivid descriptions, fantastical setting, and memorable characters. It has been adapted into 2 successful films and continues to captivate children and adults alike. Fantastic Mr. Fox. In this 1970 book, a clever fox named Mr. Fox outsmarts 3 nasty farmers to provide for his family. The book showcases Roald's trademark humor, wit, and his knack for creating heroic characters that children can root for. Matilda, published in 1988, Matilda is the story of a little girl with extraordinary intelligence and magical powers who uses her abilities to stand up against the cruel adults in her life. Matilda is one of Roald's most beloved characters, and the book's themes of resilience, justice, and the love of learning continue to resonate with young readers. The BFG. In this 1982 book, a little girl named Sophie befriends the big friendly giant, BFG, and they work together to stop the other nasty giants from eating children. The BFG showcases Roald's talent for inventing new words and his ability to create heartfelt stories about friendship and bravery. Roald Dahl's books have had a significant impact on children's literature. His stories are known for their imaginative plots, memorable characters, playful language, and subtle life lessons. They have been translated into many languages and have inspired numerous adaptations in film, theater, and television. Through his books, Roald Dahl has sparked the imagination of millions of children around the world, encouraged them to read, and introduced them to the magic of storytelling. His impact on children's literature is immeasurable and continues to be felt to this day. Part 1. The makings of a style. Roald Dahl's writing style is as distinctive as his stories. Full of humor, imagination, and an unusual way with words, Dahl's style is a big part of what makes his books so beloved. But how did this unique style develop? One of the main influences on Dahl's style was his Norwegian heritage. Dahl's parents were from Norway, and he grew up listening to Norwegian fairy tales and folk stories. These tales were often dark and strange, filled with magic and unexpected twists. This influence can be seen in Dahl's own stories, which also have a mix of darkness and magic, and often end with surprising twists. Another important aspect of Dahl's style is his humor. Dahl had a great sense of humor, and he believed that children did too. His books are filled with jokes, puns, and funny situations. This humor often comes from the absurd and the exaggerated, like giant peaches, chocolate factories, and big friendly giants. Dahl's humor makes his books fun to read and helps to balance out the darker elements of his stories. Dahl also had a unique way with words. He loved to play with language and to invent new words. His books are filled with words like snozzcumber, whizpopping, and gloriumptious. These made-up words add a playful and creative element to his stories, and they make his books a fun way for children to explore language. Finally, Dahl's style is characterized by his understanding of children. Dahl had a knack for seeing the world from a child's perspective. His child characters are smart, brave, and capable, and his adult characters are often silly, mean, or ridiculous. This reversal of roles appeals to children, who can relate to his characters and their experiences. Roald Dahl's unique style is a blend of dark and magical elements, humor, playful language, and a child-centered perspective. This style did not develop overnight. It was shaped by his personal experiences, his influences, and his understanding of his audience. His distinctive style is a big part of what makes his books so memorable and beloved. Part 2. Signature themes and techniques. Roald Dahl's works are instantly recognizable due to the unique themes and techniques he consistently employed in his writing. Let's explore some of these signature elements that made his books so distinctive and beloved. Dark humor and irony. Dahl's works often contain a dark and quirky sense of humor. He wasn't afraid to introduce children to the harsh realities of life, but always did so with a touch of irony and humor, creating a unique blend that appealed to both children and adults. Magic and fantasy. Almost all of Dahl's stories involve elements of magic and fantasy. Whether it's a giant peach, a chocolate factory, or a girl with telekinetic powers, Dahl's stories transport readers into a fantastical world where anything is possible. This theme of magic and fantasy sparks the imagination of readers and makes his books a delightful escape from reality. Empowerment of children. Dahl's books often feature clever, brave, and resourceful child characters who overcome adversity, often outsmarting the foolish or wicked adults. This theme resonates with young readers, making them feel empowered and heard. Invented language. Dahl had a unique talent for playing with language. He loved to invent new words and phrases, a technique known as gobblefunk. These fun, imaginative words like scrumdiddlyumptious or whiz-popping add a playful element to his stories and engage young readers' curiosity about language. Surprise endings. Dahl's stories are known for their unexpected and often humorous endings. These twists not only make his stories more engaging but also leave a lasting impression on the readers. Vivid imagery. Dahl had a gift for description. His vivid and colorful descriptions bring his characters and settings to life, immersing readers in his fantastical worlds. Moral lessons. Despite their fantastical elements, Dahl's stories often convey important moral lessons. Themes of honesty, bravery, kindness, and justice frequently appear in his works, teaching young readers valuable life lessons amidst all the fun and fantasy. Roald Dahl's unique themes and techniques have left a lasting mark on children's literature. His distinctive style, full of dark humor, fantastical elements, empowered child characters, and playful language, continues to captivate, entertain, and inspire readers of all ages. Part 1. Dahl's family. Roald Dahl's personal life, particularly his family, played a significant role in his life and work. He was a devoted father and husband, and his family experiences often influenced his stories. In 1953, Roald married American actress Patricia Neal. They first met in New York City and soon fell in love. The couple settled in Great Missenden, a village in Buckinghamshire, England. They lived in a quaint old cottage called Gypsy House, which had a large garden that Roald loved. Roald and Patricia had 5 children together: Olivia, Tessa, Theo, Ophelia, and Lucy. Dahl was a loving and playful father. He often told his children bedtime stories, which were the first drafts of many of his famous books. These storytelling sessions allowed Dahl to see what elements children found most engaging, helping him to refine his stories before they were published. Tragedy struck the Dahl family when their eldest daughter, Olivia, died from measles encephalitis at the age of 7. This loss was devastating for Dahl, and it fueled his later commitment to supporting immunization campaigns. Their son Theo also underwent a health crisis when he was just a baby. A car accident left him with a serious brain injury, leading Dahl to become involved in the development of the Wade-Dahl valve, a device to alleviate water on the brain, hydrocephalus. Despite these personal hardships, Dahl maintained a positive and resilient spirit. His children recall a father who, despite his occasional gruff exterior, possessed a fantastic sense of fun and adventure. Roald's marriage to Patricia ended in divorce in 1983, and later that year, he married Felicity Crossland, a close family friend. Dahl spent the rest of his life in the Buckinghamshire countryside, continuing to write the stories that would cement his place as one of the world's most beloved children's authors. Roald Dahl's family life was marked by love, laughter, and loss. His relationships and experiences greatly influenced his writing, adding depth, emotion, and a real sense of humanity to his fantastical tales. Part 2. The man behind the books. Roald Dahl, known worldwide for his whimsical stories and captivating characters, was just as interesting a character himself. His personal beliefs, interests, and attributes contributed significantly to his unique writing style and stories. Dahl was known for his larger-than-life personality. He was humorous, sometimes bordering on mischievous, much like the characters in his books. Friends and family recall his excellent storytelling skills, not just in writing but in everyday conversation. He had a way of making everyday life seem like a grand adventure. However, Dahl wasn't just about fun and games. He was also a deeply committed person. His dedication was evident in his rigorous writing routine. He wrote every day in a small hut in his garden, treating his writing like a full-time job. His discipline and consistency were key factors in his successful writing career. Dahl was a strong advocate for children and their needs. This advocacy was reflected in his stories, where the child characters are the heroes, often smarter and kinder than the adults. He respected children and believed that they could handle complex themes and dark humor, which are commonly found in his books. His personal experiences shaped his views and his writing. From his own schooling to his experiences as a fighter pilot in World War II, to the triumphs and tragedies of his family life, Dahl drew on his experiences to create his stories. He was known for saying that the good bits of our past get mixed up into our writing, and he certainly lived by this maxim. Dahl was also philanthropic. After his son's illness, he co-developed a medical device to help treat his condition. After his daughter's death, he became an advocate for immunizations to prevent measles. He also established the Roald Dahl's Marvelous Children's Charity, which provides specialist nurses and support to seriously ill children. Roald Dahl, the man behind the books, was as fascinating as the stories he told. His strong personality, his life experiences, and his passion for storytelling and for advocating children's rights all combined to make him one of the most influential children's authors in history. Part 1: The impact of Dahl's work. Roald Dahl's work has left a lasting impact on literature and popular culture. His stories have not only entertained but also influenced and inspired millions of readers around the world. Dahl's books have made significant contributions to children's literature. His unique blend of humor, adventure, and a bit of the macabre has expanded the genre's boundaries. He showed that children's books could be funny and fantastical while also addressing darker themes and more complex emotions. His child-centered storytelling approach, where children are often the heroes, has influenced many authors. The influence of Dahl's work goes beyond books. His stories have been adapted into successful films, stage plays, and musicals. Titles like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, the BFG, and James and the Giant Peach have been brought to life on both the big screen and the stage, extending the reach of his work to new audiences. Dahl's inventive language, often called gobble funk, has also left a mark on popular culture. Words like scrumdiddlyumptious and whizpopper are instantly associated with Dahl's world. His creative use of language has encouraged children to play with words and sparked their interest in language and writing. Beyond entertainment, Dahl's books have educational value. They encourage children to read and to use their imaginations. They teach important life lessons about courage, honesty, and justice. They help children navigate complex emotions and situations. In many ways, Roald Dahl's work has become a part of global childhood. His books are shared by parents with their children, by teachers with their students, creating a bond between generations. His stories continue to inspire, entertain, and educate, ensuring his legacy lives on. The impact of Dahl's work is a testament to his talent, his understanding of children, and his love for storytelling. His stories have stood the test of time, and they continue to be loved by children and adults alike, making Dahl one of the most influential children's authors in history. Part 2: accolades and honors. Roald Dahl's immense contribution to children's literature has been recognized and celebrated with numerous awards and honors throughout his career and beyond. Here are some of the most notable recognitions he received. New York Times Outstanding Books Award. Dahl won this award in 1971 for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The book was recognized as one of the outstanding children's books of the year. Surrey School Award. Dahl's book Danny, the Champion of the World won this award in 1977. The award recognized the book's contribution to children's literature and its popularity among Surrey schoolchildren. Whitbread Award. One of the UK's most prestigious literary awards, the Whitbread, was awarded to Dahl's The Witches in 1983, acknowledging it as one of the best children's books of the year. Federation of Children's Book Groups Award. Dahl's The BFG won this award in 1982. The book was recognized for its imaginative storytelling and engaging characters. Blue Peter Book Award. Posthumously, Dahl's The Giraffe and the Pelly and Me won this award in 2000 for the best illustrated book to read aloud. World Fantasy Award for Life Achievement. In 1983, Dahl was honored with this award recognizing his significant and influential contributions to the field of fantasy literature. In addition to these, Dahl was posthumously given the British Book Awards Children's Author of the Year in 1990. In 2000, Dahl was voted the favorite author of all time in a survey to find the nation's favorite children's author as part of the British Book Awards. Dahl's books have continued to be recognized and celebrated long after his death. The enduring popularity of his stories, their continued impact on children's literature, and the many awards and honors they have received are a testament to Dahl's talent, creativity, and his unique ability to captivate young readers. His legacy continues to be honored and cherished by readers around the world. Part 1. The final years. As Roald Dahl moved into the later years of his life, he remained as active and imaginative as ever. Despite facing personal health challenges, he continued to create the enchanting stories that had won the hearts of children and adults worldwide. Throughout the 1980s, Dahl produced some of his most beloved works, including The BFG, The Witches, and Matilda. These books showcased his trademark blend of whimsy, humor, and underlying darkness. They continued to feature strong child protagonists who overcame adversities and triumphed against wicked adults, themes that resonated deeply with his young readers. Dahl's later years were also marked by personal changes. In 1983, he married Felicity Crossland, a family friend. He continued to live in his cherished gypsy house in Great Missenden, a village that inspired many settings in his stories. Despite his age, Dahl remained a vibrant personality, full of wit and humor. He was known for his storytelling, not just in his books but also in personal interactions, regaling friends and family with tales from his colorful life and vivid imagination. In November 1990, Roald Dahl passed away at the age of 74. He left behind a legacy of stories that continue to entertain, inspire, and educate readers of all ages. While Dahl is no longer with us, his spirit lives on through his work. The characters he created, the worlds he built, and the imagination he inspired continue to bring joy to readers around the world. Through his books, Roald Dahl has achieved a form of immortality, ensuring that he will continue to entertain and inspire readers for generations to come. Part 2. Roald Dahl's everlasting impact. Even after his death, Roald Dahl's work continues to be a potent force in literature and culture. His stories have not only stood the test of time but have flourished, reaching new audiences and inspiring countless other creators. Dahl's everlasting impact can be seen in various ways: ongoing popularity of his books. Decades after they were first published, Dahl's books continue to sell millions of copies each year. They are beloved by children and adults alike, passed down from generation to generation. Titles like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, and The BFG are considered classics and staples of children's literature. Film and theater adaptations. Dahl's stories have been transformed into highly successful films, stage plays, and musicals. These adaptations, like the 2005 film version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the hit Broadway musical Matilda, help introduce Dahl's imaginative world to new audiences and keep his legacy alive. Influence on other authors. Dahl's distinctive storytelling style and the themes of his books have influenced many contemporary children's authors. His unique blend of humor, fantasy, and child empowerment, as well as his inventive use of language, can be seen in the works of authors like J.K. Rowling and David Walliams. Educational impact. Dahl's books are commonly used in schools to encourage children to read and to foster a love for literature. They are also tools for teaching about themes like empathy, justice, and bravery. The Roald Dahl Museum, in Great Missenden, where Dahl lived and wrote for 36 years, the Roald Dahl Museum and Story Center continue to celebrate his life and work. The museum attracts visitors from all over the world, eager to learn more about Dahl and experience the place where he created his famous stories. Roald Dahl's marvelous children's charity. Dahl's charitable work continues through this organization, which provides specialist nurses and support for seriously ill children and their families. Roald Dahl's work has left an indelible mark on the world. His ability to capture the imagination, touch the heart, and tickle the funny bone ensures that his stories remain relevant and loved. Dahl once said, "Those who don't believe in magic will never find it." Through his stories, Roald Dahl has allowed millions to find a little magic, and he will continue to do so for generations to come. The END thank you for joining us on this linguistic journey. For more captivating tales that help you learn English, visit woenglish.com, where stories become your bridge to the language. Stay connected and continue your learning adventure with us. YouTube, WooEnglish Facebook, WooEnglish.com WhatsApp channel, WooEnglish Telegram channel, WooEnglish. See you soon, and happy learning. Educational purpose disclaimer. WooEnglish.com is primarily focused on language education. Our materials, including stories, exercises, and questions, are designed to improve English reading and listening skills. While our content is crafted to enhance learning, it is not a reliable source for factual information about real people, places, or events. Some content may be sourced from the internet and could include inaccuracies or fictional elements. WooEnglish.com does not assure the reliability or accuracy of this information and is not liable for any errors or omissions.